All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hollywood Critics Association look at what is sure to be one of television's best series of the year. I can guarantee you that much. Judging by the smiles of my co-hosts, they agree. We are here for Ozark Season 4, Part 1. Part 1 of 2, a seven episode run. I'd like to say hello to my esteemed panel here. Please say hi to Kit and Rama. How are you both tonight?
Oh, I'm ready to talk Ozark. Man.
I love this show. I'm well, and
Yeah.
thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, of course, and it is truly. I mean, it's hard to say. Like, I want to say this is like I finished watching it. I'm like, oh, the best show on TV. But then I'm like, but wait, well, what about this show or that show or this show? I mean, we were truly living in an incredible time when it comes to television. And I guess before we break down each of these episodes, I wanted to start by just the quick overall response after those credits rolled. Part 1, Season 4 is over. Your first reaction is go.
Go ahead, kid.
Well, because I kind of texted Joel right after I finished it, and I went, "Oh my God! Wow, 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 wow!" kind of thing. Once again, this show just manages to floor you, and I don't. It reminds me a lot of Breaking Bad, which is the sort of the what I feel like the way a crime show like this is done, where everything is so what, I'm trying to play with the camera thing and it's just not working, so I'm not going to do it anymore. Anyway, I just feel like every episode is so good, and it's none of the episodes have ever disappointed me on any of the seasons. And it's been a while since we've been in this world. I kind of had to catch myself up a little bit beforehand because of how much time had lapsed, but I mean, I was in it immediately, and it's just this constant, aren't they gonna die, aren't they gonna get caught? I mean, it's just it's like Breaking Bad in that way, and it just keeps you on your toes. And just the fast wheeling that the birds do, both Wendy and Marty. I mean, they just they're like this, and then now you've got the kids involved as well, but who are just as quick. But I did read a headline today that I think pretty much sums up the entire first half of the season, which is, it's Ruth's world and we're just living in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's
So,
my
Rama, what was your take when the credits rolled and you had 7 episodes in you, and your thoughts were what?
It was hard to shake off, and it was like the end of last season when they just killed off Helen out of nowhere.
Right.
I was like, holy smokes! And now Ruth is on the road to vengeance. It's just like this show really keeps me on my toes, and it's always like pins and needles all the time. And after the first season, it was hard for me to get into it because all I kept thinking is George Bluth, because in Arrested Development, Jason Bateman.
Right.
But now it's Jason Bateman, the dramatic actor. Now I'm getting into this after 4 seasons, and it's just getting better and better with each passing season. I loved it.
Yeah, I gotta say, when I watched it, I kept thinking about there's an old Jewish saying that basically it just says, even during the Holocaust, people were saying this, hey, it could always get worse. Well, I mean, this is a funny thing to talk about a show you love, but it's just the way the birds are and the situation they get into. It always seems like, well, it could always get worse, because you know what? Give it a couple episodes, because it's gonna. And you just keep thinking, like, this family is in quicksand, but yet they still seem to have one foot on solid ground. And you keep having this hope that they're going to pull themselves out of the quicksand, and then something else happens. And then we're going to break it down. Several things this season, most notoriously, I think, Javi, the arrival of Javi, Omar's nephew, and the private investigator. To me, both of those were red flags immediately when they appeared. So we'll just dive right in. Episode 1, appropriately, was called The Beginning of the End. It commences with the birds happy, which is a kind of an interesting thing considering their history, driving in their minivan down the highway. Then the car crashes and flips 16 million times. And you're like, oh, great. And then we flash back to the season truly get going. I feel like this was filmmakers' way of saying, okay, do I have your attention now? Like, you had my attention like 3 years ago, but okay. the description of this episode was Marty and Wendy wrestle with a problematic offer. Ruth goes out on her own. Jonah rebels and starts to work for Darlene, Wyatt, and Ruth. And then we get to meet Omar Navarro's nephew, Javi, who is played with delicious devilnish by Alfonso Herrera, who makes his presence, let's just say, known. So episode 1, what were your thoughts after completing it?
Go ahead, Rama. You start.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was fresh off of Helen getting killed off. You know,
Right.
they were still like, cleaning up themselves from the blood on the hair.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just still like on that moment as well. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe Helen is the one that died instead of them. We were just expecting them to die instead. So that moment still lingers, and and they were in a party, and I was like, I don't know what to feel about this. I'm still shocked. But yeah, the first episode, I don't know. I'm still wrapping my head around the whole aftermath of everything, not just Helen, but also them.
Yeah.
With Ruth, dealing with that as well. So yeah, loving the first episode. It's a very, very grand opening with a car crash too. Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, I was really, when you do that to me, where you start off like the beginning of the end, you're like, okay, so we know what's going to happen. And by the way, we're not really spoiling this because that's in the trailer, so you don't know exactly, what happens or how it happens. So you are spending the rest of the episode or the rest of the season thinking, okay, so we know they're going to crash somehow, but they seem like they're getting out of it. So, so then we bounce back and we see sort of the aftermath of the brother being killed. Jonah finding out that, his mother is the one who had him killed, basically. And, his sort of rebelliousness that comes to the forefront for that. And then Ruth is now working with Darlene Snell, of course, because her cousin Wyatt is sleeping with her, and so you're thinking, okay, so maybe that might work out, but right away it's starting to go bad because Ruth is just, she's a smart cookie, and Darlene is, just a wackadoodle, man. I mean, my God. So yeah, they're setting it all up. So now we've got the birds have lived, and they're now with Navarro, and then he drops the bombshell on them that he wants to go legit. He wants to go straight. He wants to get out. And you're like, and I don't know how many times Wendy said, well, that's impossible.
I know, and he's like, stop using that word.
Yeah, quit using that word. So, I was like, oh God, now here they go. They're still stuck, that what are they going to do now? How are they going to do this? And then we introduce Javi, and you're like, oh no. This isn't going to be good because, of course, Omar's got to hide the fact that he wants to go straight. Right. So yeah, it just starts to set it all up all over again. Like just when you think you're out.
Yeah. Well, that's what really, that's what really got me about the arrival of Javi. I almost just immediately, like, yeah, he's American educated, and yeah, he's gonna help out his uncle, but I was just like, this is a guy who's hungry for power and doesn't and won't get the birds. But I think probably the line that will define this whole season was uttered in this episode, and it was uttered by Omar Navarro when he reminded Marty. He says, what did I tell you? And he says, we're not free until you are free. And he said, no, that's not what I said. You're not free unless I win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, the birds are up against, they couldn't be up against a bigger thing. I can't think in our history in real life of a major drug lord just literally walking away with the blessing of the FBI. Without serving jail time, able to move back and forth between America and Mexico, all things that he wants as part of this deal. And you agree with Wendy, and you're like, this is impossible. But like, what this does as a viewer is the impossible is a viewer's dream, because they're going to go for it, and it's going to make for great television. and then there's so many variables. I mean, the whole idea of Darlene being such an unpredictable an X factor. I mean, somebody just looks at her the wrong way. She pulls out the shotgun. I mean, she literally does that like twice this season.
Oh my
You
God.
know, and I just, you know, it just gets me that you know that Javi makes the scene, because you almost felt like, okay, they've cleared this path. We know what they have to do to get there, but now there's this Javi angle, and I know I keep bringing him up, but like he is going to be a huge problem. And as the season progresses, we of course see that is indeed the truth. So we cruise into episode 2. And this is an interesting title. It's called Let the Great World Spin. But this is Maya, the FBI agent that Marty is working with, pushes back on Marty's plan for Omar, because, of course, you know, we're not going to let a psychopath killer go on the loose without giving up anything. Ruth pursues the hipster heroin market, which will produce a very interesting relationship between her and a celebrity chef as the episodes progress. And then Wendy tries to raise $150 million to establish the Bird Family Foundation, which of course leads us to being introduced to a new character named Claire Shaw, who is played by fascinating panache by Katrina Lenk. She is CEO of the Shaw Corporation, and they're supposed to be kind of like the company that made oxycodone. Basically,
yes,
they know that they've done
Snappers.
something wrong,
Yeah.
and they're in the middle of settling all these lawsuits, and they want to go on the right path, and so they're hooking up with the Birds to help build rehab centers across the Midwest as a way of kind of good faith.
Right.
But what this also leads to is an interesting way for product to get moved through a legitimate business that is the Shaw pharmaceutical company, which adds another layer to this whole thing. I mean, there's layered narratives, and then there's Ozark. So anyway, your episode 2, we've kind of got the world set up here. What did you guys think?
Well, I mean, you know, the whole Sackler family sort of reference was interesting because I literally just watched Dope Sick. And you know, so I was like, oh wow, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, it's all about who can manipulate and maneuver which way, you know. So Ruth, you know, first of all, I guess Darlene, well, Javi's main thing was that, well, we got to get Darlene out of the picture, and they're like, well, okay, we'll try. You know, but you know, she goes to the Kansas City mob or whatever, and they're like, yeah, we're not gonna distribute for you. So then that leaves this open gap that Ruth takes on by going to this celebrity chef guy, who's an addict, you know. So there's that aspect to it, not necessarily a good thing. And then when that, you know, kind of starts to fall through or whatever. Anyway, so that's where Ruth is. She's just keeps doing this. But I really feel like John is the character that I was really sort of you know, annoyed with, but also kind of impressed by, because you know, he's Ruth is, you know, she's trying to figure out how to launder money. I mean, she kind of knows how to do it, but she doesn't know Marty's system, and she's trying to break into his system. And Jonah comes up and says, well, guess what? I made my own system. I'm 14 and I'm a brain. So she's like, okay, yeah, come on board. Let's do it. And Marty, and you know, Wendy's like at every turn trying to be a mom, but at the same time just appalled by her son's behavior. So they're like, no, you're not doing that. And he's like, well, yeah, I am. But he's so honest too. That's the whole thing about
But
Joe.
one thing I love too, really quick, is how in that shot when they first figure out that he's working for Ruth and Darlene, and it's like, I'm laundering money. You notice that Wendy's face is that of utter shock and horror, and Marty is a tinge of pride.
Yes. Through the whole season, he was
Yeah.
he was a little
He's like,
bit.
he's kind of like, that's my boy.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I thought it was fantastic. Yeah.
I gotta apologize. It's been a week now since I watched these episodes. You know, I got the screeners so early, and so I haven't been watching in a while. So the scenes are all jumbled up in my memory in my head right now. But I remember, I think Marty saying to Darlene's like, because Javi wanted Darlene to stop, because so Marty was saying to Darlene, they're gonna kill you. I'm doing the best I can to not get, so you don't get killed, do this, and Darlene just don't want to cooperate, and Javi to me, back to your point earlier, Javi reminds me of Andy Garcia from Godfather 3, because Navarro is dangerous, as we know. He kills, but Javi is on a whole other level of dangerous. He's like, I just want to strike all the time. And so that's what makes him a lot scarier than Navarro. Navarro has limits. He says like, I won't kill kids and whatnot, but Javi would go all the way, across the line. So, but yeah, I remember that scene when Marty says to Darlene, and that's kind of like the jump start for all these Sackler storyline, and which is very interesting, definitely.
And I also like the addition in this episode of a new sheriff.
Yes,
because the old sheriff gets killed by Javi. Spoiler: this warning. This is a spoiler-filled show, and this provides fodder for a lot of episodes to come. Not to mention an issue between Jonah and his parents, involving the sheriff, and also Darlene and the sheriff, and the fact that we've got a new sheriff that was not friendly to Darlene, and is basically trying to figure things out in this town. Here comes number 3 on the list of season 4 issues that could derail the birds. A brand new sheriff sniffing around. It just kind of adds another layer to this. I don't want to call it a soap opera, because that's to me, this is drama at its finest. And to have this new sheriff, like, kind of just, she's emotionless. Like, you can't read her, because you can't figure if she's going to be cool or if she's going to, like.
Yeah. Oh, digital. Digital freeze. Digital freeze. Froze up. Yeah. So that's so that.
Go ahead, kid. Go ahead, kid.
Okay. Yeah. So he's right. And then of course we also have to bring up the fact that he did mention that Joel did mention it, that the private detective guy, he's he's very determined.
He's nosy.
But he's only there to do one thing, is to get this signature from Helen, right? He doesn't care about all the other stuff he seems to find himself in.
Uh-huh.
But he is like, I just need this signature, man. I don't care what you're doing. I just need this signature. But then he starts to uncover all of the, all of the things that the birds are doing, and you're like, at any point in time, is he gonna be the one to snitch or get them really in trouble, or whatever the case may be? But he kind of doesn't really. I mean, or here, I think there is Joel. There you are.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries, sir.
So yeah, so I was just talking about the private detective. He's very single-minded. He just needs to get this signature from.
I just need a signature.
I just need a signature.
He's like, alive or dead, I honestly don't care.
At all these different points. So.
But then when he starts like poking around with Ben or Wendy's brother and that whole thing, and you're like, look, he's just digging, and there's nothing but crap to dig up. So I mean, there's plenty for him to find in this town, and the guy seems to be really good at his job. So I mean, like I said, I feel like he's part of this multi-pronged effort to derail the birds and their open.
But he doesn't really. He doesn't really want to. He doesn't care. He just wants to do the job he was set out to do. And then you find out later that that's how he operates. He was a detective, and he was very thorough, is how I think when he described him.
Yeah.
But, so I think we're on to 3 now, right?
Episode 3. It's called City on the Make. Maya and Omar finally meet face to face. That is quite a scene.
Oh man.
Wendy has a rough business meeting while Ruth goes behind Darlene's back. And we know that always ends well. And she always, and that's setting up a big confrontation, which we've been waiting for, because I mean these two have kind of been at it since episode 1. But the idea that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. But my idea when that happened was, have you met Darlene? Like, I think it's better to ask permission when it comes to Darlene. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah.
But and also the episode featured Jonah getting more and more involved with Darlene and everyone over on that end. But that scene that our episode starts with the camera inside a bag, and basically we find out that that's Maya, the FBI agent, and she's getting on a private plane with Omar. I feel like this is a scene that's kind of like actors just drool over when they get the script. And they're just like, okay, it's just the 2 of us sitting face to face across a table. Let's go to work. I mean, I was just blown away by that. What about you guys?
Yeah, Maya's one tough cookie, man. That actress is a great actress. She was very formidable, and she was the forensic, agent, in the casino, and you could tell there's definitely respect between her and Marty. Marty, they both realized how smart they both really are, and how they could probably both work together. And if there was another life, maybe they would be, partners or something. But yeah, I mean, she is gutsy. I mean, to look that man in the face and he says, "Well, what do you need from me?" She goes, "Well, you're gonna have to tell us, everything that you're doing and who you've worked for and all that, and you're gonna have to do jail time. That's the only way this is gonna work." And he's like looking at her, going, "Well." And then she just gets up and walks away. I'm thinking, "Oh God, oh no, please!" I liked her. I didn't want, she just had this baby, so she's a new mom, and I'm like, "Don't kill her." But no, she walks away. He lets her walk away
without the bag on the head.
Yes, that was a great scene.
Yeah, Maya is what's the word in America here? Straight arrow, like because on this season we get to see FBI compromising, of course, like, but Maya's, that's not her game, and so she even screws their play basically. So that was an interesting take, on the whole law enforcement about cooperating with the drug cartel to politicking and whatnot. But to your point about Darlene, to me she's like a tragic character, because the one thing that she keeps bringing up is loyalty. She's like, are you loyal to me? Loyal. It seems like it's coming from somebody who has been betrayed or hurt so many times in the past, has trust issues, so loyalty is a big deal to her. If somebody like going behind her back like Ruth did, she's like, you're not loyal, so. And of course at the end, even more tragic, and Wyatt, I was like, oh, he was almost out. Wyatt's almost out the door. Exactly. But she took him down with her basically.
Yeah.
And you kind of knew that was going to happen, and so did Ruth. I mean, Ruth just like, Darlene at this point in her life, just from what we've known as her as a character, has just honestly been lucky. I mean, she has just angered so many people along the way. It is amazing that she is still walking this earth, at least in terms of episode 3. Episode 4 has a very interesting title. It's called Ace Deuce. It's the descriptor here says that it's Wendy lets an emotional element influence her opinion on a subject. I'm referring to letting the world know in that press conference that her brother is missing, when she knows damn well that he's dead because she okayed the hit. As soon as Wendy, you're right. And as soon as Wendy says that on the news media, and I'm just like, this is going to be a problem. This is going to be a problem. I know you're going for the sympathy of the audience out there, but you got to think bigger picture. And she just doesn't. And that's why she let her emotions get in the way, I think, of a business decision that she should never have gone there. But anyway, she lets the world know that her brother is missing, and that opens up a whole can of worms. We also get to know the celebrity chef influencer, not in the best of ways. And he manages, even though it seems completely unrelated, he manages to do something that could seriously bite the birds in the ass. So, of course, I'm talking about him ODing on the Birds Casino, which is always a good thing to have when you're under the watchful eye of the FBI. So anyway, episode 4, Ace Deuce, your thoughts?
Well, the other thing that happens, so then, once he ODs and Ruth saves him, because Ruth is there. They were just actually there to have fun, and Ruth's not supposed to be in the casino. She's supposed to be banned from the casino. But Marty, of course, has a very soft spot for Ruth. We all know that. So he he lets her in, and then that happens, and you're like, oh crap. So now they're gonna have, people come to the police. Now the new sheriff, how is she gonna handle all of this, and why is there heroin in the casino and that kind of thing. But the interesting thing about that is that again, here we go. So right when you think things are going to fall apart, right? So the influencer guy doesn't die, but says, hey, look, I can't do this anymore because, I'm
done.
You've got this product. And then Javi is now being, skeptical of their deal with Shaw because, Navarro is starting to give away stuff to the FBI. So now they are starting to crack down on some of these movements that are happening and shipments and, money passing by and all this kind of stuff. So Javi's like, what's going on? No, we're not going to do this thing with Shaw anymore. Gonna have to put a pause on that. So now here's Shaw thinking, oh God, I've gotten in with this, Mexican drug cartel. And now I have to, what? Now I'm going to be working with this, what'd she call her? This little skinny blonde girl. I don't know what her name is. Yeah. So I love that. I mean, they're always thinking on their feet. So, Marty goes to Ruth and he says, okay, you've got this product. We've got to do this thing. We can't, there is no lapse. We can't pause. Can you help us out? And here she is. She's like, really, Marty? I'm coming to save you again. I love that character so much. I've loved her from the very beginning, but so she comes to save the day again. So I mean, it's a roller coaster. Every episode you have to sit and breathe for a second just because you think it's gonna all just fall apart. So,
I knew that Celebrity Chef is gonna he was gonna be flake or flaky because even before without knowing the whole that he's a druggie, but he's a celebrity chef. Why does he need to invest in this kind of thing? And I think that speaks to Ruth being not too skilled as an entrepreneur. I mean, she made the right move with Jonah, but because that's a skill that needed to be had. But the whole thing with the celebrity chef, that was kind of like her blind spot, if you will. Breaking Bad, you mentioned earlier, in the previous seasons, Ruth was kind of like the Jesse Pinkman to Marty's, Walter White. And so when Jesse Pinkman trying to play the crystal meth on his own, it's like trial and error, stumbling along the way. That's what Ruth is to me right now, because Marty already knows, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, you got to do this. It's smooth with him, but not Ruth yet.
No, that's right.
She is finally right, but she's quick. She's a quick learner.
Yeah,
she's a real quick learner. And she is tough as nails and doesn't take no for an answer, even if it's to a fault. But I do feel like if you look, I would love to do a character arc on her from season 1, episode 1, because I feel like what she has done as an actress and as a character is just absolutely phenomenal. Creating this character that, she starts with a set of skills that is basically, pickpocketing, breaking and entering. And now she's like demanding $100,000 from Marty to go buy the drugs back. And she gets it, she's going to get it. And that's just who she is. And I think it's in the last episode. It's neither here nor there, but I think 3, Langmuir does a great imitation of her. He says something like, I just like the way she says, Marty. And it's just, he nailed it, how she says Marty. Just Marty. The way that Marty.
A little voice,
So anyway, episode 5 is called Ellie. And it finds Marty and Wendy courting a recently retired senator to join their board in what would be a
Bruce Davison.
Yeah, was it Bruce Davison? I thought it was. Oh, we lost.
Bruce Davison. Oh, let me. Oh, No, okay. Sorry, Joel. But yeah,
So yeah,
Bruce Davison. Yeah.
Miss Davison as the senator. Yeah. So Wendy's whole modus operandi has always been to try to um, legitimize what they're doing, in a
Hmm.
way. And for her, she's always been a power broker. She was in politics before. That's kind of her forte. So, it seems logical for her to go after a top politician to get on the board of this foundation that she's trying to establish that will also help Navarro. I mean, it's all part in trying to make
But
things more legit,
but
right?
the senator's supposed to hate her guts, right?
Right.
Yeah, that's what's funny. They hate
Yeah.
each other.
They've been at odds before. Another character I wanted to bring up too is the guy who plays the lawyer, who kind of comes on board for her. I don't know who. Oh gosh, I don't know his name. We saw him in the last. He's been in a couple of other seasons, I think, here and there.
Okay.
Anyway, he's the one who sort of is helping her broker this deal. She brings him on to do that. Hey, there you are. Read the rest of the description. We were trying to remember exactly who's the guy who plays the lawyer. Do you
Yeah.
have his?
Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, okay. You guys go ahead. You can
But
finish.
he's great.
Yeah, he's great. He's great. So yeah, go ahead and keep talking about what the episode's about.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the whole bit with Shaw, the deal, and how Marty and Ruth have to get the drugs back. We talked about that.
Right.
Again, how do writers creatively put our protagonists in more hot water, all without them burning? At least not yet, and simultaneously raise the stakes. I mean, this is what they do all the time on this show, and it's just unbelievable. And then I also we get a little bit of a Charlotte storyline on this one, where she's doing her thing as the daughter, very much the daughter of the Birds. But there's this idea, should she go to college or not? Because, I mean, let's be real, she's getting one amazing education right now, which I think raises a very good question for somebody in that position. Like, would they go to college? Would it be needed? I mean, who knows, if they'll even be alive by the time September rolls around.
Right.
So anyway, that's episode 5, and your thoughts on that one.
Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, yeah. We talked about briefly Bruce Davison. Great actor.
Right.
Love him.
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah,
nominee.
totally.
Yeah, he's an excellent addition, and I love how his character hates Wendy. So at least that's the impression I get. And so that whole dynamic was so much fun. Trying to get favor of the senator, Bruce Davison's character. And to your point about Charlotte, I was a little bit disappointed that this season 4 part 1 doesn't have much for Charlotte to do. I think she has the least substantive plot of all the characters. It's like she's there, the whole college thing, and then she's there for Helen's daughter, and pretty much that's about it. So but I would love to see her do more in hopefully part 2. Something more engaging, whatnot. So yeah, that's my disappointment.
Well, I feel like Charlotte, she was the rebellious one earlier.
That's
She
true.
was the one not accepting what was going on and kind of running it with the wrong crowd. And now she's understanding and getting it, right? It's Jonah who's the trouble.
Yeah.
And the other thing I love about this show is that you have got some crazy stuff going on, and these kids know all about it, but it's still a story about a family. So Marty and Wendy are constantly, butting heads on how they're supposed to parent their children, because like you said, Wendy is just appalled by what Jonah's doing, as I would be as well. And he's just so nonchalant about it, but there's a twinge of pride from Marty. But then when Charlotte says, yeah, no, I don't think I want to go to college, Marty's all upset about it, And Wendy's like, what are you talking about? She's doing such a great job working for me. Why does she have to go to college? Not everybody goes to college. I just love that they just throw that stuff in there,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think we lost Joel again. Oh, poor Joel's having some issues
with the network connection. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's getting down to the wire there. And I think that I do have to say though, even through this whole season, and it was so great, I still kind of miss Helen. Jan-
Yeah,
Janet McTeer
she was good.
is just a phenomenal actress, and
Yes.
I think that I think that she did such a great job as Helen. She was definitely one of my favorite characters because you just didn't know. I mean, she would become. At first, she was just hard as nails and just doing exactly what she was told to do. Working for this drug cartel, but also, she started to shed some of her armor, and showed some vulnerability with her family, with her daughter.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the reasons why this show is so interesting, is that it really does focus on family, of all sorts. You've got Ruth and her family. You've got, and her sense of family, and how she's so fiercely protective of Wyatt. Um, and then you've got the birds, of course, and then
Mhm.
and then you've got Navarro too, who's even for him, family is what is meaningful to him.
It,
So it's very
it,
interesting, that dynamic, right?
yeah, it broke my heart when Charlotte told Helen's daughter what happened to her mom. I was like, oh my God, that was heavy. That was heavy.
That
Yeah,
was Then again, I was like, oh God, is that going to backfire on them?
yeah.
How are they gonna get out of that? Is she gonna tell the cops? Is she gonna try to find her mom? I mean, it's
And,
yeah,
the scariest part, one of the scariest parts about this season was when Navarro knew that Charlotte and Jonah were hiding in the graveyard. I'm like, oh my God, they just can't escape them. They can't escape this guy.
yeah, yeah. I
He
know.
knows their every move.
I
Oh
know. It's
my
crazy.
God.
Hopefully
Oh,
Joel will make it in here.
is Joe coming in?
Um, yeah, let me see if I can try to find. So, I think episode 6, because now we're
Yeah.
getting down to it, right? So episode 6, I believe, is where the FBI has now, basically has given Navarro sort of the green light, because he has been giving them all of this information, even though now Javi is suspecting that there's a mole and that kind of thing. How do they know all the stuff that's going on?
Is episode 6 the meeting at the mall, the abandoned
I
mall?
think so.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Now I remember.
Yeah. So they bring him in. So they bring they bring Navarro in to make this deal.
Yeah,
And
abandoned mall.
some like, gross mall that's been definitely has been out of business for a while and stuff. And you're like, oh my God, what's
So
yeah,
shady.
very shady.
Uh,
But then, so then there's Maya. She's the one who put this whole thing together, and you think that she's gonna she did what she was supposed to do, and she's kind of a hero. And then all of a
yeah.
sudden, those two FBI guys are like, Navarro's like, okay, I'm ready, let's do this. And they're like, no, actually, what we're gonna have you do,
Yeah.
you're an informant for us.
They blindsided Maya.
I
They
was
blindsided her.
forced too. I did not see that coming. Did you see that coming?
No, that was quite a twist.
I was like, what?
I feel bad for Maya.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
To keep it going so that they could have, they could have the inside scoop here. Hey Joel, are you okay?
Yeah, my wife is just telling me the whole block is having internet ins and outs. So of course
No.
this never happened. So this timing is perfect. So I apologize to everybody, but that's where we're going in and out.
No worries.
Yeah. So
Well,
anyway,
we're talking about the mall scene. We're talking about the Navarro mall scene, which
yeah.
blew me away. I did not see that coming. It makes sense though. So then they turn to the birds and they say, okay, you're done. You have done what you've done and you can go now. And they're like, what? They don't even know how to react. They're like lying on the floor of this abandoned mall or whatever, and like going, is it, are we really? I just loved that. I love that. You're thinking, Now I'm thinking, okay, the car scene is going to come up, right? This is when I thought it was
Yes.
right. I'm like, oh, wow, this was something else. So then you think, okay, so they're excited. They're like, let's move to back to Chicago. We're gonna run the foundation. Let's, and they come back to the house, and Charlotte's like, yes, let's do this. And Jonah's like, nope, not going. And Wendy's like, yep, you sure are. So when that happened, I thought to myself, well, maybe wait a minute, maybe this isn't gonna end with the car crash, because Jonah's in the car crash at the beginning, and I thought, okay, how's this going to work? Maybe I'm wrong on this, but they seem to be super happy about it, right? And the other thing I loved was the push and pull between Darlene and Wendy.
Mhm.
Which one is that?
Well, Darlene basically to mess with Wendy.
Oh,
Puts
yeah,
up
yeah.
all those signs. Oh, have you seen me? I'm missing.
Yeah.
That's her brother, right? And we know
Yeah.
that whole thing is completely foobarred. And then you have people calling her up. I think, well, we found a description of someone who's dead. What is it? I gotta go check the body out. And Marty says, well, it's not him. Because he knew that. Anyway, so then and then Wendy so slyly says, "Oh, Darlene, thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
helping
much.
out. It was so sweet of you to put up all those posters." And da 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 da. And Darlene's just fuming. And that when Darlene comes over to the house, and Wendy comes out there, and Darlene starts to have, here's spoiler alert, has a heart attack right in front of her, and Wendy just sits and looks at her.
Sits there. She just sits there, phone in her hand.
Well, of course, we're going to get to it because we're almost to the last episode. But I thought, oh, finally, right?
Yeah.
I
thought that was it.
I thought that was it.
Nope,
Nope.
she's a tough bird. She
Nope.
is a tough bird.
Anyway, the Maya, the FBI thing, you could just see Maya's face. And again, I didn't see that coming. And then I didn't see what else came, which was Navarro's going to his private plane to go back to Mexico to be this informant for the FBI. And then the FBI swarms around. And you're like, I don't know. I actually, at first I thought, were they just messing with him? Were they always going to arrest him? And then I realized, oh, it was just Maya.
Yeah, she went rogue.
She went rogue. Whoo.
Yeah.
That was, sorry, I talked a lot on that one. Go ahead, Ron.
Oh, no worries. It's all good. I just want to chime in real quick that that's what I love. When a drama is good, it's drama is good when it's the shades, if you will, between good and bad is like blurred, like that scene at the abandoned mall, like the FBI being bad, and then the bad guy could be kind of good with Navarro,
right.
towards the birds, and that's what I love. I love dramas like that, where it's all like you can't really tell which ones, not everybody's all good, not everybody's all bad, and that's that it's all embodied in that whole abandoned mall scene. I love it. So, but just want to chime in on that.
It was so good.
Yeah, it's another show that really paints the picture that it's not black and white. I think Succession does that too.
Yeah,
it's like you never know who's going to be good or bad, or define bad. Although I think everybody they're all pretty bad, but they have different levels of bad. But I mean,
you root for the birds. I mean, you do.
Right.
They
That's
honestly have found themselves in a situation that they just cannot get out of, and they're trying and trying and trying. And technically, I think they're all good. I think Wendy's a little more ruthless than Marty would ever be in his entire life. But still, you root for them. You do. You root for Ruth, who's she's has her. I doubt, but I've never rooted for Darlene.
No, absolutely not. You've rooted for her to get hers, but not for anything else. And I have to. But I have to bring up the. Oh, is it me now? Oh, wait. Rama's now going in and out. Are you guys still there? Yeah.
Hello.
Am I still? Am I back?
Gosh, I hope that's not me now.
You just froze for a second. That's all.
Are we still on?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Technical difficulties. Welcome to the internet. Welcome to the internet. No, but here's another Darlene scene. I think that was in this episode too.
Mm.
So it was actually before she has the heart attack. I'm not sure. But when Frank Jr. or Frank Sr., the KC boss guy, walks into her house,
Yeah.
starts saying all of that crap to her, I go, "Oh, you're dead, buddy.
You
You
are
better
so
shut
dead."
up." She's gonna get that shotgun.
Yeah.
And sure enough, she turns around the corner. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
And I love how Wyatt comes in and he sees the body just on the floor and she's making apple pie.
He
Like it's
goes, "Who's
nothing.
that?"
And he's like, "Who's that?" And she's like, "The head of the KC mob." And he's like, "I need some air." And he just
Because
leaves.
he was being rude. He was being rude.
He
Like,
just leaves. He's like, "I need air."
but then that broke my heart because Wyatt then goes back to Ruth. Ruth is like, "Let's go. Let's get out of here. We have the money now. I don't have to be here anymore. And let's get out of here." And he at first says, "No, I don't think I want to." And then he comes after that. He's like, "Yeah, let's get the heck out of here.
Right.
I'm down. Let's go." Oh, and I knew
Yeah.
that wasn't going to work out. So are we at 7 now?
Yeah,
I think
we're at
we are.
7. It's called Sanctified, which is a very interesting title for the final
Ah.
episode of part 1. Navarro and the FBI meet face to face. It doesn't go as expected as planned. I think we kind of talked about that already. We just did. Darlene killed the head of the KC mob. Wyatt, freaking out, tells Ruth, who then in turn, which is a great scene between her and Frank Cosgrove Jr., the mob boss's son. I thought that was a great scene between Ruth and him. And each having their own father issues. And she's like, "I lost my dad when I was, and there was this connection there when these two used to be such adversaries. I mean, she literally threw him off the boat. So I love that scene. But then she also begs him not to take retaliation because she knows her cousin Wyatt will be around Darlene. And he does promise not to do anything, but somebody does do something, and one guess who it is, judging by who's been wreaking havoc since episode 1 of this 4th season, ladies and gentlemen.
Mr. Javier Navarro. Is his last name Navarro?
Yes. Yeah, his name is Navarro. Mr. Javi. I'd rather call Javier because he doesn't get the friendly Javi.
To back up for a second, this is what breaks my heart. Because, Wyatt comes back and he says, "No, I can't go with you. I'm going to marry her. She's going to lose Zeke if I don't." Yeah. And, because Wendy called the child services on Darlene because of the heart attack and blah, 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 blah. And, and I thought to myself, "Oh, no." And Ruth's face, you can just see it, and that's when she goes to talk to Frank Jr. Please don't kill them. My brother, my cousin won't leave, blah, blah, blah. So then when they walk in and then there's Javi, I'm like, "Oh crap!" And it happens very quickly.
Yeah.
There's no dilly dallying.
And Wyatt was just is a collateral, like he's Javi said, "Whoever you are, sorry
whoever you are,
sorry, whoever you are." It's like, so he
didn't matter. He was just a body who happened to be sitting on the couch next to Darlene.
Wrong place, wrong time, kind of thing.
Yeah, and that of course sets Ruth off. I mean, and if you think Ruth has been set off before, you have not seen her set off like she was set off at the end of episode 7. No. I mean, I've always thought that she was an amazing actress, but Julia Garner, what she does with this particular season, I thought she took it to a whole nother overdrive.
Yeah.
I mean, she just that was an unbelievable episode. And it's really, really hard to say who the MVP is because this is really, it's the birds show and it's about the birds, but it's such an ensemble. I mean, even the KC mob boss's son. I mean, you need a good quality actor to get that part. I mean, he's been humbled. He had his dick shot off. he just lost his father. He's in a world of hurt, and you just can't have some player who you hire off the street. I mean, every actor in the ensemble for Ozark needs to be as good as the leads, and they really are. That was my big takeaway after watching this season is just the casting. And casting can be such a crapshoot at the beginning. Like, you don't know. Like, I talked to the casting director of Ted Lasso, and she's just like, you get lucky. And like, who would ever thought Nick Mohammed would take off like he has?
Right.
But, so I'm just thinking about the casting director on Ozark and what an amazing job they've done. So anyway, Final episode thoughts on that one, if you guys want to share.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's Ruth's world, and we're just living in it. I don't know how she can. I don't know what she's gonna do. I mean, she wanted to kill. When she barges in their house and just is just so just rage, just pure rage. And yeah, you're right. Julia Garner was so beautiful in that moment. You know, she was just the rage that just came out of her, and you, but she's not trigger happy. She's not Darlene. I think that's really the main thing that you kind of take away from it, is that they both, Darlene and she and Wyatt, they all grew up in the same kind of environment. They all grew up like kind of hicks, and you know, as violent of a world that is, she's not like that. She just isn't. But she's really, I just can't imagine what she's going to do. I mean, I don't know how she's going to try to get over this, because the whole Ben thing was hard enough, you know. I love that scene where she's looking for a jar to put Ben's ashes in.
Yeah.
What was that
Yes.
thing she got? What in
Cookie
the
jar.
hell?
It was a sheep with a suit.
There you go.
Sheep in a suit.
It was demonic looking. It was so weird.
And it was so amazingly used. Like when the PI came over to her
Yes.
trailer, and he's like, "I'm looking for Ben," and I'm like, "You're looking at him, buddy." I mean, he's literally 6 feet from you. But yeah. So
Well, I really
that urn deserves a best supporting actor nod, because it was a constant source of something. I don't know what.
Weird. And I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but the last 2 episodes were directed by Robin Wright.
Yes,
Huh?
I saw that.
And I thought,
Yes.
well done, Robin.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
I talked to her for her movie Land. You know, yeah, she was really
such a good job she did on that.
Yeah.
Well, good for her. Well, that has taken us through the 7 episodes.
Oh, just want to chime in real quick.
Yeah. Oh, please.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I just to echo what you guys said, Julia Garner was really earning that Emmy that she won, and I think if I'm a betting guy, I bet she will win again this year for that performance. It was just amazing, especially for that episode. Exactly, especially for that episode 7, and also just last thought from me that you know the show, a show is ending when the main character is reflecting on the past. You know, the whole the whole Marty, remembering his best friend that died in the first season.
Yeah.
You know, you can tell, when it's reflective moments, introspective, that, of course, because the show is, is about to close the curtains. And I like those moments where Jason was just subdued, thinking about all that has happened, from his best friend throughout, all to this point, to this moment. So that's just something that I just wanted to bring up, and I like that aspect of that episode 7.
Yeah,
that is, and it actually it serves many purposes. And one I really like is like you said, is to show how far we've come. Like,
yes,
how almost naive he was at the beginning, and how wise and savvy he is now, almost to a fault. But I got some real quick questions for you guys here now that season 4 part 1 is over.
And they didn't die, or they didn't get in the car crash. So
they didn't get in the car crash. So we're assuming this is at the end of part 2. But then again, I wouldn't put it past season 1 to start after the car crash. I mean, who knows with these creators? So who knows? But
that's true.
First of all, I have like a couple of questions here. Now, who is your favorite character over the entire arc of this series? And I feel like I already know the answer.
Well, you kind of missed. We had a little bit of a sidebar conversation when you were having technical difficulties. For me, I think Janet McTeer. I think Helen was is probably. It's a toss up between Helen and Ruth, really.
Yeah. Okay.
But Helen just. First of all, she's a fantastic actress, Janet McTeer, and I felt her absence a little bit in this season. Not to any detriment to the season, because really it was just still quite as good. But I did miss her a little bit. I missed
Okay.
her.
What about you, Rama?
I know Ruth is everybody's favorite, but my favorite has to be Laura as Wendy. I mean, and I that's I'm being biased because I always loved Laura before Ozark came along, and so yeah, Wendy's my favorite. Love Laura's performance in it.
And she too. They've all evolved in ways that
Yes.
never kind of think would evolve. Like you're saying, Marty kind of went. I mean, Marty's always been quick on his feet, though. I mean, even from the very beginning, I've always admired the way he could just remember things. And Jason Bateman is so funny, right? We love him as a comedy guy. So whenever he can show it just a little bit, and certainly Marty Bird, there is no comedy, just a little bit. When he and Javi are driving in the car, Javi's drinking, and he goes, "Hey, do you want some?" He goes, "Yeah, sure." And he rolls down and when he throws it out of the window. I went, that's pure Jason Bateman right there.
That's pure Jason Bateman.
Or the DEFCON 1, DEFCON 5.
Right.
That? that was a George Bluth moment.
Yeah. Why is DEFCON 5?
Why is DEFCON 1 worse? Or worse, yeah.
Right. I'm really glad you mentioned Laura Linney. I actually went to high school with Laura, and awesome. I just love to see the success she's had. I've interviewed her one-on-one a few times, and I get the extra time because I'm a friend in my school. And just we talk about arcs on this show, Ozark, and the arc she's had. I mean, the almost put upon wife to she could be a drug kingpin right now. I mean, she could be a drug kingpin right now, and that is incredible.
Thought so.
Yeah. Well, he was like, that's why he was like, I'm really disappointed in you, Wendy. Like he pointed out Wendy, like he saw something in her.
Yep.
And I think it's also why the other politicians, people in that realm, fear her or don't like her. So yeah, I mean, I love Ruth. I'd like a Ruth spinoff or a prequel maybe, but
yes.
I think prequel. Let's do a prequel.
Yeah, let's do a prequel.
And I love Laura Linney's character. Now, my second question, quick answers here. I don't want to take up much of anyone else's times, but I think that the establishing shots and the work that they do shooting the Ozarks is just gorgeous, and it's created such a dichotomy for me because it's like they make that area of the country look so gorgeous and so inviting that I'm like, before I die, I want to go vacation there. But then you go to the ground and you see the people interacting, and yes, it's fiction and yes, it's the show, but I'm like, I'm not sure I do want to go there. What do you guys make of the setting, and would you want to visit the Ozark?
Well, the thing is, I've traveled through Missouri and Arkansas and all that region, and I don't remember it being that lush. I mean, it's my recollection, but yeah, it's beautiful. I know they shot it in Atlanta or something like that, or New Orleans or whatever it is. But yeah, it's beautiful. Definitely like a postcard thing. Like I want to go there definitely.
Right.
Well, I feel like it's one of those places that has, the very rich and the very poor, and there really isn't so much in between.
Right.
So the very rich go there to vacation and be on the lake and and do all the water sports and that kind of thing. And then you've got your Hicks, you've got your Ruths who live in a trailer
work for them.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing is Ruth has all this money and she's still staying in that trailer. It's like that's her roots. That's where she's from. Yeah. And it's beautiful around that trailer park, right? Mm-hmm. The water's right there, and and Wyatt always sleeps on top of the trailer. And I find that interesting that she's never left there.
Well, and now she's the only person there. I mean, it used to actually be a bunch of people there, probably 6-8 people living there, and now it's just her.
Yeah.
And she's got the money to go somewhere else. All right. Well, last question, and this will just be kind of a very simple.
Can I ask a question afterwards?
Yeah. How do you think this will play out? I.e., will the birds get away? Yes or no?
Theories. Go ahead, kid.
I hope they do. I want them to get away. I want them to do that. I mean, it's like Breaking Bad. You wanted Walter White to be able to get away, right? Yeah. And he didn't.
That's what I'm saying.
Jesse did. But Jesse did.
Right. So that's what I'm feel like this ending is. It's not going to be like the show. It's not going to be black and white.
I don't think it's going to be black and white.
So what do you think, Ron?
I-
Will they
I-
get away?
Well, I think the trunk of Marty's car, gonna open up, and then like a Jack custom weapon comes out of it and starts shooting. I'm sorry, that's a Breaking Bad scene.
Oh, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah, I
But who knows what's gonna happen? But if I were a betting man, I think I'm betting that Marty is gonna die, but everybody else is gonna live.
Uh, yeah, I feel like there's got to be some collateral damage, something.
yeah,
All right.
somebody.
So, what's your question, Ron?
Oh yeah, quick question, because I don't understand this one scene. Could you guys explain to me, how did Ruth manage to get out of that whole the nighttime when she was talking to the drug dealers in the basement, and then she got out with the duffel bags, with Marty saying like, no, 5 more minutes left,
Right.
give her. All of a sudden just cuts to her just walking out safely. What happened there? What do you think?
Well, she had established just through her what she had said so far that we saw. She had
Okay.
established, she had said enough to the guy that I think he believed her. I
Oh,
think he
but-
was on the verge of believing her, but then she said too much, and then she got hit. And I think her reaction, like he was like, I think she's legit. I think she's really telling the truth, and I can make $100,000 right now for doing nothing but playing video games and continuing my night. So I think they
I was
didn't need to
confused.
show that, but like it would have helped a little bit, because it's like then you had the drama with Marty and the security guy, and
Yeah.
again, nothing can go smoothly.
No.
No, and then so I started wondering like, well, how did Ruth get out of there? But then I thought
Yeah.
about it some more, and I think like she had said enough.
Okay.
And she was one of them too. I think she
Yeah.
they saw something in her that they recognized, and they were like, this girl isn't pulling her leg, and
Yeah.
this is
I
somebody
feel
that
like
we
she
want to
just-
know.
She pulled a Ruth. She
Yeah.
talked. She and Marty are the same people in a way, just
Yeah.
from completely different background. They can talk their way out of
Yeah.
anything.
Good
Well,
point.
and I think that's why Marty really likes her so much.
Yep.
He sees a lot in himself.
Yeah. I love that though. They're like, oh God, what's happening? Is she coming back? We gotta leave. What's happening? It's been 8 minutes, but all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then I thought, are you guys gonna help me with these bags or what?
Yeah. That was the perfect
On
ending to that
screen.
scene. Yeah.
Off screen. We don't even
Like,
see her. She's in the
are
dark.
these-
You don't even
Are
see
these
her.
two gonna kill themselves? Or, how's this gonna play out? And then you hear this Missouri accent scream, "Is anyone gonna help me with these bags?" You're like,
So
She
good.
probably used the F word in there. Yeah, she
That's-
drops a couple of F bombs.
that's our Ruth. Well,
Thank you for
That's
that.
our Ruth.
on
That's
that
our
note,
Ruth.
I'd like to thank you both for being here, and it's
Yeah.
my pleasure to be here as well. Talking about one of the best shows on TV. Ozark premieres tomorrow, Friday, the 21st of January, on Netflix. All the episodes will be on at once, which is why we did a whole show about the whole season rather than breaking it down episode by episode. So if you want to work your way through our show, keep it on your bookmark on your hard drive, and keep us close, because I think you're going to want to revisit us.
When is part 2?
They don't know yet.
Yeah. I don't know yet.
They don't know yet, but I
thought it was
suspect.
going to be this year.
I feel like it's the summer.
Oh, it is going to be this year though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll
it's
be
definitely
back.
Yes.
We'll be back, guys.
So
Hopefully
we'll
it'll
be
be
back
3 of us.
to let's see if we survive Javi. I don't want that guy coming around. 'Cause
We're
that
not
just
selling
never-
drugs. I think we're okay.
Okay. Well, you never know. Javi doesn't seem to need a reason to take somebody out.
That's very true.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very
All right. Well, thank you guys very, very much. And
Thanks, guys.
on behalf of the Hollywood Critics Association, thank you everybody for watching, and stay tuned for more of our great programming. Good night.
Bye-bye.